Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here.
So let's jump into it. First question: leading up to Privaini, tell
hmm
us a little bit about your background.
So I started off my academic career as totally a double E software engineering guy. I went to Stanford. They made me take something called Western culture, and which was great actually. It stretched me. It turned out I fell in love with English. So I probably am the first person ever to graduate from Stanford with an electrical engineering, computer science degree, and a full English degree. I ran off and went to work for Oracle Corporation and other software developer uh, concerns, and really found that I loved solving problems. I love the complexity of the problems, and I love dealing with people, which I didn't do so much with. So I really felt like I needed something. And so, I had a wild hair and I went to law school and I decided to become a corporate securities lawyer. I remember the day I graduated and took the bar and got my bar results back. And I had passed the first time. I was so thrilled. I thought everybody would congratulate me. And all I remember was getting condolences cards.
Oh,
Because I told my engineering friends, I'm going to take the bar once. If I pass, I'll become a lawyer. If I don't pass, I'll just go back to programming. And I had a venture capital startup practice. I loved working with entrepreneurs. I mean, I've been born and raised in Silicon Valley, been doing this for decades as a lawyer. And then I said to myself, I don't want to be 80 years old and not try a startup. In the macro world, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, things are more efficient. People are released from doing the drudgery and they can go find other things. And so it was really important from my perspective that we do something that preserved actual jobs, right? And created the kind of human capital freedom and the higher level work without actually taking away work. And the thought was, hey, from an outside perspective, this is not something anyone's doing right now. They're not doing it well. They're not doing it at all. They need help. We were very early in on machine language and AI as technology pieces. And we thought to ourselves, this is a really good use of technology, right? We're going to boil the ocean using machines that no one wants to, and people can't boil the ocean, don't want to boil the ocean, but they really need the ocean boiled so they can make the right decisions. And so those were some of the key elements and design principles and philosophies that went into this concept of outside. And then as we had discussions with executives, one of the things that came overwhelmingly across from every single executive was this concept of sunlight. We're doing what we can based on what we know. And we have systems in place, we've got lawyers, we've got vendor management teams, we have internal audit, we've got this covered. So the idea was, hey, it's not working, right? Whatever they're doing, it's not working. And I think what we can do here will help substantially. And what I really liked about it was every executive we talked wanted to solve the problem. It wasn't that they didn't want to do it, it was that they couldn't do it with the resources they had. So that was the inside part that confirmed the outside in. One is sort of the privacy gaps, and then one is sort of a broader future proofing my compliance gaps. On the privacy gaps, there I'm going to explain it in sort of a narrower way because privacy laws sort of tell you what you need to do. Just get consent and get consent clearly in an informed way. So a lot of privacy boils itself down to relatively simple variables. Let's look at the privacy notice. I know that. I've done that. Let me put my consent manager in. Oh, I don't have one? Okay, I'll put one in. Oh, that is sort of where compliance tends to end in a compliance top down perspective. But the issue is that the stack is very deep and there are many layers, right? You've got the engineers and the consent who manage the consent layer. You've got the website engineers that manage all the technology that gets thrown into your digital domain properties. Those layers are also part of your compliance program. The fundamental issue is that there is very little sunlight. It's kind of swampy, it's murky. And what we wanted to do was to them provide help provide sunlight to that area and show them how a regulatory notice disclosure driven regime can be out of alignment, and how it can be out of alignment, even though you have the best of intentions. And so, from a privacy perspective, we see a lot of people looking at this going, oh, I didn't understand that my consent management program was not triggering the way I thought. I didn't know that when I put in this video player onto my website, it brought friends
Yes.
in the forms
Unwelcome
of exactly
friends.
unwelcome friends in the form of embedded tracking technologies. And so once they start to see this, and they can begin to see the misalignments, and then comes the process of aligning. It's obviously it sounds simple, but there are some companies have multiple different digital domains over multiple regions, all of which are implemented in a specific format, often localized to the specific
Right.
markets that they're in. All these tools are going to be not necessarily standardized across the entire stack, across the entire globe. And hence you can see a lot of different pieces that just have gaps that the team now sees and can now work on in line. And that's what we've been doing.
As we've seen, we've noticed a lot of those gaps and discrepancies with customers, especially in different verticals. So healthcare is one of them, especially the gap between HIPAA and non-HIPAA. Give us a couple examples that we've seen with clients on that specific issue.
Organizations that are covered by HIPAA are very, very focused on their mission. And so they'll comply with HIPAA. Mostly. Some people actually don't. They don't put a prominent notice, but that's fixable.
Sure.
We run the scan, we notice it. They go, oh, okay, I'll just make it more prominent. Just stick a link in
Absolutely.
the footer. We're done. But what happens is where they stop their compliance perspective. They'll
Sure.
have this understanding that I'm regulated by HIPAA, and that's all I'm regulated by. And therefore, once I comply with HIPAA, I'm done.
Right.
Sounds simple,
Yeah.
as always.
Again, sounds simple.
But again, you have these other patchworks of laws coming in from all the different states. I'm just going to use the United States as an example, right? And you've got renowned hospitals that have patients that come in not only from their local, like let's say you're Stanford University, and Stanford hospitals, great hospitals. They don't just take patients from Palo Alto or even from San Francisco, the Bay Area region, or California, right? You've got people coming in from all 50 states. You have international patients. All of them have loved ones, friends, community members that want to find out how they're doing. All the while, there are certain tracking technologies that are being placed, and it's part of the infrastructure of the web in the United States now. And so what these organizations have learned is that when they're collecting this information, they're collecting information that's not only patient data, but they're collecting data that's not patient data. And HIPAA covers patient data. The compliance gap really is tied often to expanding the focus of what is actually being collected and understanding that as we are irrevocably a digital world with everyone necessarily needing to use some sort of digital pathway to get access to information about a service or whether you're a patient or not, or to get your patient records themselves. Tracking technologies are all embedded in.
When we look at Privaini now versus where we see it in a couple of years, what are your thoughts on, say, Privaini as a platform in 5 years?
I would love to have Privaini providing its telemetry to every single company throughout the world, right? And not just in a privacy perspective, but also in this volatile, ever-changing, super dynamic AI world, right? We've got a lot of AI laws that are currently being contemplated. Some have been passed. They're all in early stages. The risks are very uncertain. The players are dealing with all this uncertainty in the way that they know best, which is to advance their business. I'd like to be able to help our clients future-proof this by looking at the different signals that we produce to really help them get consent in an informed way. Simple. AI has this whole other aspect of trying to let people understand what is the scope of data being collected. Is there, where's the bias? Am I being transparent about the work product? Is this human driven only, produced by human beings only, rather? Or is it produced in concert with artificial intelligence? Is it completely artificial intelligence? Is it true? Are these deep fakes, right? There's all this additional disclosure that has to, and risk around it that has to be understood, all of which is unknown at this point because the laws are just being passed, right? And even the allocation of burden. I mean, it's very clear in the privacy world. You want to collect the data, it's your burden to get the consent in an informed way. When you're an AI, whose job is it? Is it only your job to tell people that is a product of AI? Or say your customer uses your tool as an intermediary provider to an end customer. Who is it, his job or her job to tell them that it's AI driven? This, is there some sort of accountability across every user, or should it all just be piled on the vendor? I mean, we don't know. The answer is we don't know. I think there could be a very, very clear, clear as mud answer in about
Sure.
5 years, right?
That makes
Kind
sense.
of thing.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.